and its membership is operating as public servants, the church will impact the lives of people, and the believers will fulfill the Messiah's mission on earth. Reading from the book of Isaiah in the Torah, he read our mission statement: "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he have anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance in captives, and recover the sight of the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised." Luke 4:18. The basic function of the church is to be involved in every facet of life of the believer. Holding true to his mission, Christ looked at the needs of the people, provided it, and then began to preach out of the good deeds. The church today must live up to its true billing, meeting the needs of people. Both the alcoholic and the poor should be able to receive assistance. Over the past years, I've been thinking seriously about the future of our church here in Bridgeport. We are living in crucial times never before experienced in the history of humankind, and the church must respond to human deepest needs. One question keeps coming up to mind: who will be the next generation of leaders in our church throughout the future? We need to bring the church to a new level. Our current leaders will be deceased or too old to lead a century of believers. We're in desperate need of new and sound leadership to continue the Master's work. My final analysis to this: the church must do away with all and any excuses and continue to prepare young men and women to lead the church throughout the millennium. It is never too late for the right foundation to be laid for sound leadership. Paul sets the right tone in the book of Titus 2:3. Anybody have their Bible? I want somebody to read that. Titus chapter 2, verses 3-7. Titus chapter 2, verse 3-7.
Titus 2, 3-7.
Yeah.
The older women likewise, that they may be reverent in behavior, not slanderers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they admonish the young women to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, homemakers, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God may not be blasphemed. Likewise, exhort the young men to be sober-minded in all things, showing yourself to be a pattern of good works, in doctrine, showing integrity, reverence, incorruptibility.
Paul set that tone in the book of Titus. And that is the information that he gave Titus to give to the churches. All leaders of churches, big or small, must recruit more young men and women to serve in diverse capacities in the ministry. The responsibility of guiding the next wave of leaders weigh heavily on those in leadership positions now believing in the believers. In return, the challenge to prepare a Christian for leadership will take proper training and a willingness to accept a role in the church in order to face the many challenges ahead in the community. We must start to look deep within ourselves and arise to serve the needs of all people in the name of Christ. The time is closer unto the coming of Jesus, and the church has much work to do. Now is the right time to become the church that Christ wants us to be. We can't get away from what the church should be doing. I've done my very best to not, in the last 10 years, institutionalize the teaching of Christ. This is a very big city. And the Bridgeport Church of Christ came here with the intentions of bringing hope to the people that are here. And we've done so many things since we've been here that has been pretty remarkable for a small group with a small amount of money. We have accomplished so much, and it's a great great thing that we have done that. We have gained a reputation around the brotherhood, both north, south, and east and west, that we're sound in doctrine. We have had our challenges. We have many battles that we have fought here, but praise be to the Lord, we are still standing, and that's a blessing. All right, let's open up with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, dear God, we thank you so much for this day and every day that you bless us and you give us, and you find it necessary, dear God, that we are servants in the kingdom. We thank you for the mission. We thank you for the way. We thank you, dear God, that because of Jesus and the resurrection of your beloved Son and the penalty that he paid for the sins of the world, that we can now come directly to you and talk to you and be loved by you through Jesus. We thank you that this concept was carefully thought out and prepared in order and in the fashion which pleased you. We thank you that Christ stayed upon the cross, did not give up on the mission which redeemed us. We thank you, dear God, that we have a blueprint that we can go to in time of need, time of education, and time of comfort. We thank you that you loved us in this way, that you provided us the very blueprint of your mind and your heart. And we are praying, dear Father, that we don't deviate from that. These are very special times, dear God, that we're in. Your churches around the world are in constant attack. Satan has turned up the ante. I don't know what he's thinking that's going on, but Father, we do see some different times. It is more people living in the world today than it has ever been. And with that being said, there are more things that are going on in a very, very different fashion culturally around the world. Satan is doing everything he possibly can to make sure that he win every soul he possibly can win. But we know that you are greater than he. Father, we love you. We love you for the church that we are working here in this beautiful city, the things that you having us do here in this city with the souls that are in this city. Father, we're also thankful for the good works that are being done around the city of Bridgeport, despite of the church and its inconsistencies at times. You are still working, dear God, through many agencies to take care of the poor and take care of the homeless and take care of the fatherless. We thank you, dear God, that we have that revelation in Scripture, and we pray that we get our minds back and roll our sleeves up and do the work that you're asking us to do. So as we go into our meeting, Father, and present some things, bless the hands that will go up, the mouths that will agree, the work that needs to be done, and in a collective manner, we pray that it get done. In Jesus' name we pray these things. Amen. All right, can somebody read Acts chapter 2, 42 through 46? It should be memorized, but can we publicly read it?
Ye men of Israel, hear these words: Jesus of Nazareth, a man approved of God among you by miracles and wonders and signs, which God divinely in the midst of you, as you yourselves also know, him being delivered by the determinate counsel and full knowledge of God. Ye have taken, and by wicked hands have crucified and slain, whom God hath raised up, having loosed the pains of death, because it was not possible that he should be moved in it. For David speaketh concerning him: I foresaw the Lord always before my face, for he is on my right hand that I should not be moved. Therefore did my tongue rejoice. Oh, it's the wrong. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, too. They were continually devoting themselves to the apostles' teaching and fellowship, to the breaking of the bread and to prayer. Everyone kept feeling a sense of awe, and many wondering signs were taking place through their customs. And all those who had believed were together and had all things in common. And they began selling their property and possessions and were sharing them with all, that anyone might have need. Day by day, continuing with one mind in the temple, and breaking bread from house to house, they were taking their meals together with gladness and sincerity of the heart.
Somebody read Acts chapter 14, verse 27. Acts chapter 14, verse 27.
When they had arrived and gathered the church together, they began to report all things that God had done with them and how he had opened the door of faith to the Gentiles.
Thank you. Our anniversary event will be June 9th, 2019. So can everybody take out their phones, their calendar, and put that date down? June 9th, 2019. For the next remaining months, we'll be meeting every first Sunday of every month for that event. So put that down, write that down in your calendar. Every first Sunday of the month for a half an hour only, from 1 o'clock to 1:30 p.m. after services. Every first Sunday of the month, we'll be meeting for the 2019 anniversary. We'll be choosing location, speaker, itinerary, and everything that goes along with producing that event. Every first Sunday of the month. A half an hour only. We're going to put timetables and caps on these things. So each month you have to come to the meeting prepared with the information that you have been assigned to or volunteered to do, so we won't waste any time. Everybody have the date down and the first Sunday date. Okay, we will have our department reports right now. There are several of you that are here that are doing things on Sunday, doing things in general. We will limit that to 3 minutes for your report. I will stop you. So just give us the meat of what you're doing, how it's going, what you think should be better, and what obstacles you are running into, so we can address that and keep that moving. Okay? Jackie's not here, nor does she send anything in, so I'll get her report and I'll have that printed up for you on Sunday, and I'll put that on the back table. But so far, the Prospect House is going relatively good with all the challenges that we have with working with the agency. So far, so good. Just want to know from you guys, is it better that you pick up a partner with this? Some of our months was not met, so we split some families. But is it better for you to have 2 families do this on that Tuesday? Or is everything okay? If everything's okay, we won't add any more oil to the wheel. Okay, everything's okay? Okay, all right.
Hey, Dad, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
We need to set up 1 or 2 men as a backup so that the families that don't have a man in their home or one of the brothers can't attend, the backup can be called so that the man can go and do prayer. And then we also have been working on, it's not ready yet, but a potential display that the families will be able to bring that will have the church information and any information about people who want to have a Bible study. That part's not ready yet. But we do need to set up a backup system so that in the event that the man in that family can't go, or the brother isn't going, or there's no man in that family, that we have a backup we can call in advance that can potentially go and help facilitate the prayer and any spiritual side of that.
Okay, right now we have David Fitzinger and Brother Rod Stanley for that backup. Okay? And what Jackie has decided to do with the problem that we ran into on Tuesday, the food was sent in the morning, correct? And this way we didn't have to worry about the weather event that we had in the evening. So that worked out well. So our backup is Rod and David for the male guys. I'm present in the room. And of course I am a floater. So we have that under control.
And also, we could also, the people who need help, we could also just throw it out there. So for me, I don't need help for this month. But for any families who need help for that month, so they need someone else to help prepare the food, or
Okay.
you could probably throw it out there because some people probably just an option.
All right. I'll filter that through Jackie, so she's the point person. Rod, you can join forces with her on that, and you guys can kind of like, get a checklist and make sure that everything is running smooth. Probably around the Sunday before that Tuesday that we actually go out down. So if anything happens or we run into any snags, we have at least 3 days out. The Prospect House is always ready and never caught off guard to prepare food. So just know that we won't run into a problem where nobody will be fed the day that we agree to assist. Rob?
Yeah, but on that Tuesday, if that person of that family, the man cannot be there, we have to be called.
Yes, and Jackie will do that. Yes, you and David will be the backup, or she will call me if she can't get a hold of you guys. But that's the procedure right now on her report. Okay, next, Patrick, you have something for the teams, or how are things going with the class on Sunday?
We finished off at the beginning of the year our material on a booth for the parables. So we went through every single parable of Jesus, and we incorporates it across all the Gospels. So it ties in all the different Gospels versions of that. And it gives a good overview of what Jesus was explaining to and who he was teaching this to, and then also the practical everyday meaning towards us as individuals. And what I did was I tried to apply that to every parable, having the class see on a personal basis what they can actually apply that type of parable to their life on that following week's basis. If it was in regards to being prepared, if it was whatever the parable incorporated in there. So that was a part of that. Then moving into the beginning of this year, we started on his next series of lessons, which does a deep review of the last week of Jesus' life. So we're on to the third day of death, and we're on the third day of Jesus' death now, going into where Judas is now starting to plan against Jesus. And that too is a really good lesson, because it really gives a great way of tying in across all the Gospels, everything that's taken place during that time. And at the end of each class, there's a set of questions that we go through, and everybody in the class participates in answering all the questions from that day's lesson that we did. So there is not only the going overview of it and the interaction in the class, but also making sure that they are answering the questions in their books as we get through that. So that's where we are with the class there. And the only thing with the class that is, an issue, not with everybody all the time, but it's getting kids there consistently, and then also being there in time. And that issue I've pressed, and I've talked to a couple of parents about that, and we've been working that area. The participation in the class when they are there is good, but if they're not there consistently, then they're missing out on the background of the previous classes, which sort of build as we go along, especially in this series. days of Jesus. So that's a necessity. And as I can get local activities as far as youth rallies and those kind of things, I presented to the class to see if there's something that we can do, and then present it also to the parents. So the next activity for the kids will be March 8th and 9th. The component of the the conference in Manchester also has a youth rally component this year built into it. But it won't be an overnight youth rally. So I'll be going up Friday night, and then bringing back the kids Friday evening and sleep in their own bed, so do I. And then going back Saturday morning, and then it's an all-day Saturday program.
Okay.
So that's where we are right now.
We have assigned before, and it somehow it just fell on the wayside, a report coming from the kids when they go to these events. Can we get back, well, not can, we need to get back to that each kid is responsible for an essay on their weekend event or their daily event, so we can see how much they're paying attention, how much are they absorbing the things that were taught to them. And we would like to recognize the children on Sunday morning that went. So we would need your attendance, and then you can report to the congregation just by a show of hands or standing up the kids that went to that, so the congregation to know the youth that are involved in certain things. I've asked Aaron to team up with you to get these kids to Southern events. That hasn't worked out too well, but I will give a schedule out to you for that and recruit you some help for that, so these kids can go different places. We have this 15-passenger van that's sitting out here that's going to get a lot of movement this year. So you can have a backup. Who is the backup for your class? I know Aaron was supposed to be. Aaron travels a lot with the singing group. I know that day that you had to take off, the kids sat there. I wasn't aware of that until almost at the end of the class. So is David Mocktan your backup, or you don't have a backup?
My backup was Jason, and he's still on the list as my backup.
Okay, we're gonna clean that up. We'll fix that, okay? Because there was no leadership for them. So we'll get you a backup. We'll take care of that. So I'll fix that. Okay, anything else? Okay, thanks, bro. Dev? Excuse me. Sister Stanley.
Yes, so the event that takes place in New Jersey that happens in April,
Yep.
where all the churches are invited to, and it's an activity where kids can, excuse me, they can have time to speak, they can sing. It's a competition. It's a Bible base, and it's also activities, basketball challenges, as well as double dutch and all these other things. The church in Hartford has offered to have Bridgeport assist them. So even though we don't have youth that may be interested in a particular category, they have still offered and said your team should come. They should all come and see. And if they want to be involved in an activity that's already taking place with either New Haven or Hartford or the other Hartford, then they would just join that activity, right? So there's no need for us to reinvent the wheel. We just would participate in that. So just an FYI, in case no one knew about it, but they do go, I believe it's in April. And again, they don't have to, you can go to be an observant. So you can see perhaps the plan for next year if we wanted to do something and compete on our own. But I think, I know New Haven and Hartford have combined resources, and they've competed and they've won competition. So we might as well, if our kids are interested, join whatever activity is already out there.
And they have about 300 kids come to this every year. I mean, it's huge.
It is huge, and it's well worth it. I mean, my kids, Crystal and I were even talking about it recently, that we miss it. We as adults miss going to it because it's so much fun, and it's a whole weekend of activities. So we're even thinking that maybe we could help. I mean, you let us know. I would love to go. I mean, from Friday to Sunday evening. I mean, for the entire weekend, it's so worth it.
Okay, well, we got further down on the agenda, we got some folks that are now willing to help out and get involved. I passed out the van license application to several of y'all to fill out. The church will pay for the fee because we need more of you to drive. I'm just not going to do it. I'm gonna put that out there right now. That's why I gave out these applications for other people to get involved. And there's some of you now who wanna get involved in the youth ministry and all these kinds of things, and I think it's great because, you know, the church is going young and young people wanna have fun. So might as well get ready for it and be a part of it. The North have asked me and Donna to bring people up in the whole New England area on weekends and come up and just rotate. Again, I'm making the time to do those things, but I don't want to do them solely. Okay, so I will start any of these things, and then you guys just jump in and just do it. They just want to see us and see our kids. So the New England lectureship that happens is it May 5th and 6th? I encourage you to go to that. It's just an overnight stay. And you get to meet a lot of people from the New England congregations that you will benefit from. So think about it. It's put together very well. It's hosted at the Holiday Inn, hosted every year. And you would do well to be involved in that. Okay, Dev.
Just before Deb says something, I think we need female volunteers for the teams. I'm not always able to go with Patrick for whatever reason, and sometimes he cannot he can't be the chaperone for the ladies. He can be for the boys, so we need female chaperones because quite often Andy's the only one who wants to do anything for the teams. Just being honest. You know, she's the only girl who wants to do anything, and sometimes if I'm not able to go, then they can't go. So we need females to step up and say, I will go if Andy wants to go.
You know something, Nadine, gone are the days where that is no longer a requirement. I didn't have a female chaperone. When Donna didn't go, churches still allowed me to bring children. They don't do that anymore for safety purposes and stuff like that. And, you know, all churches and ministries are under so much scrutiny now with all the stuff that's been going on with child molestation and stuff like that. I mean, we all had to get, those who are smart had to get insurance coverage on me as a minister, children on the van. It's a different world now. So you're absolutely right. I mean, the more we get involved in things, the more it's going to take adult participation. And it's a sacrifice, you know, to do these things and to grow the church in these areas. Remember that family area of the church is the pulse and the heart of the church, because that's where your leadership is. But it takes people to volunteer to do that and to look at that as a ministry. And, you know, to tap people on the shoulder and say, hey, look, you know, we're here Sundays. We're here on time. And our kids want to go places. Just think about the people that you know that are members of this congregation that don't come here consistently. Just think about those folks. If they did, what it would look like. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some of those people outside of me should be pressured by you and make more telephone calls like some of you are doing and just say, hey, look, we got to get with the program, you know? But thanks be to God that our sister congregations are making available for our children to tag along with them, but it doesn't look good that adults in our own congregation don't want to participate. It doesn't look good. But thank you, Nathan. You're absolutely right. Dev?
Good morning, Mr. Vice Principal, leaders.
I'm ready to say he was very devoted of him. I love to speak many ways, but mostly I'm involved with this international ministry. I'm so thankful that the Christ Peace Board helping me a lot because I need more encouraged, not only help, not only pray, or encourage as well. Right now, many Asian countries are involving in Nepal, not the Church of Christ, the different kind of denomination. I'm very afraid. Where we are involved right now, many ways are from Philippines and from the Thailand and many those people came uh, with some of the brother in Christ there, in the Church of Christ. They traveled in Nepal to their purpose, but they were associated with some of the denominational people. I don't know how one of my brothers told me about this. I'm very sad with that. And the Church of Christ who traveled there, they returned the same year. They never came back to the denomination. They stay there, and they're preaching very against the Bible, which they said there is a mother. I don't know. This doctrine is very makes me mad right now. And we are Church of Christ Bridgeport, who is doing this international ministry, and everybody expecting that we be able to involve more than what we are doing right now. The Popra is second destination right now, and I'm very devastatedly behind this. They're asking many things, but many ways. People who coming and asking so much things to help out there, but we can't. I asked you, Brother Stanley, many ways. And there's three brothers who is staying there and day and night, reaching out day by day, their house and everywhere. And this is the city very, very strong, like a stone. Their heart like a strong stone and not able to break it. But still they are trying. Oh, I am involved all the time, no matter day or night, all the time, encouraging them to constantly work this. Why? Because of just you read only the statement. That was true. People have no any intention now to go to find the congregation to worship. They backing up. They are not willing to go congregation or church or worship or Bible study. They backing up. It's very sad part. I am very agree with that. Your first early step. I was talking this morning, Brother Kiru. He's also same situation. Many congregations drop out helping. There's a story. This is very sad story that I'm bringing here in this meeting. You are all here. This is the beauty that you are so busy, still you are here. We are going to attend our anniversary, our upcoming. We are so very happy to announce this. And we are so thankful, God and everyone here. I've been constantly talking with Brothers Junior about what we can do domestically. I have been asking him, can we do this and that? Many ways. It breaks my heart when I see those people who are not able to come back worshiping with us. Maybe we are wrong. Maybe we are human. Maybe we have done so wrong before their eyes. Might be we are wrong. Can we do this and that? I've been talking to Brother Junior. Can we or can we not? I don't know. This is a domestically. You have been talking. We able to succeed this and that part. Constantly, new people coming, the old people backing. It makes me very not good. This is the time that I would like to share you all. We have international ministry, we have domestic ministry, we have congregation, doing what it's supposed to be. But the many ways we are not success. I mean, we are not that much success, but still we are satisfied some of part, not all the ways, some part. But some of the point that I wanted to make it, I'm taking your time morally. I don't want to do that. But it's
Yeah,
still.
because you only got one more minute.
Okay, thank you. The class is going well. Everything going so far so good. But I just wanted to go this Cebu, the many people to me there as a hub in United States. I'm the only Nepalese guy in here in United States that able to connect those people. I'm the only Church of Christ member. There's no any Nepali Church of Christ in Nepal and connecting in the United States. They wanted to leave me there. If you want to help me to go to do kind of this ministry continue, this is my only petition, and I'm asking you all.
Okay. All right. We'll get together. I got this schedule that I'm going to give you in a few minutes after a couple more things here for the men to get together and figure this out. What I did and the way I did the Tuesday class, I have some input on that where what you're asking to do needs just a little bit more clarity for the men to involve. And like I told you, what you're experiencing, the churches in America are not giving money the way they used to. They're changing their model. The churches want more of a short-term investment and result. Most of the churches and the ministers and the elders that I talk to about their mission fund, they want to go into a mission, teach, develop, and leave. That's just their mindset now. And they're not going to be long-term supporting any ministry. Every minister, every elder that I talked to made that perfectly clear that it's going to be a year by year and 2 to 3 years cap. And then they're out of that mission ministry. So that's the reality of what we're working against. And, you know, the money that we send here from Bridgeport is amazing to me. And I thank God for the brothers and sisters that contribute in the manner in which they contribute. The physical help, the ministry help that you're looking for. We as brothers and sisters, I know Sister Stanley is available now with a time slot, with an end date herself on helping out in some of these areas. So thank you. This is ongoing. I share your passion and your concern and your pain because I was there. And it's just amazing to me how we have done and what we have done, but what is needed. So sometimes I can't figure out, but it's time. Okay. All right. Ellis, Sunday morning class.
Yep. So Sunday morning class has been going well. Our attendance has increased over the last year, at least year and a half, which is good. Also, our attendance Wednesday night has increased over the last, I would say, 6 months, which is a positive. We're in the second phase of our survey. Right now, we're in 1 Samuel, which is a milestone because just the amount of information that we covered from Genesis to 1 Samuel, for those that have been in the class, can attest to how much information that was. So that's going good. I think the consensus from everyone that I have heard has been positive in terms of this type of structure for a Sunday class. I think it's difficult for congregations to pick what curriculum to actually have on Sunday. So that's been going well. Wednesday night class as well, I would say, is the curriculum that we have used over the last year with the Flex series and even this new diving into who Christ is has been received well. So those two are going well. Online presence has been going well. We have We had over 45,000 views for our content in the last calendar year, which is a positive. A lot of our metrics have increased in terms of subscribers, in terms of likes, and those sort of things. Some positives to change that we would like to do is to market the Sunday class, the Wednesday class, and some of our other recorded Bible studies more digitally to grab people in. So basically to use them more as an evangelistic tool than what we have been using them, because we do get a good online interaction, and the type of classes that we do on Sunday and Wednesday are perfect for reaching out to the lost in our area online. So we're going to work and send some information out in terms of announcements for people to help to work with organizing that better, to just pull people in, to use the digital platform more this year to pull people in. So that was the feedback. The other feedback that we had was time constraint always for our Sunday and our Wednesday. Sometimes because of the amount of content that we're dealing with and the comments that we have, we go over. So we've been trying to do better with that. So that's an improvement. But the digital piece is really the biggest thing we like to push for this year, because we have a strong presence digitally. We just need to market it more. And marketing would be like sending out information on Instagram and Facebook, not necessarily come to church as a blanket statement, but specifically about join our survey of the Old Testament class, or join our study of who Christ is on Wednesday, and things like that. Specifically target people online in our area for these specific classes. So hopefully that will draw people in to come into the actual facility that we're at the hotel. But that's the main thing that we want to work on this year.
Okay. All right.
To that end, so we have the Facebook page, and I do want to shout out, like, there's a couple members who on Sundays will do a recap of the sermon. I know Sister Karen will post like whatever the title was, the scriptures that you're using, and I think all of that is great. I know my mom does like a verse every Sunday, so if you can just use the hashtag like COCBPT, that's just for consistency. So when people who are not us search that, all of the things that we're posting will come up if it's a public post. And then also we do have a Facebook page where we can have the levels of engagement for the back end. It's like admin, moderator, editor. And so I think just to synchronize what Ellis is talking about with what Patrick is doing with the teams and what you're asking in terms of the one pager, maybe I can set up the teams, or they can send an email to me even. But I think just growing their leadership, we can set up a point person. So one of the teams who has a Facebook page, and they can be an editor, and they can post the one pager synopsis of the Manchester event or whatever. Again, that takes it beyond even just us knowing about it. We can spotlight one of our teams. They can upload a photo. I think they can do like a live chat. They can do a Facebook Live. All of that is really helpful because churches in our area are doing that all the time. And then also, just if anyone is interested in being an admin on the Facebook page, brother, come on. If you're interested in being an admin, let me know and I can add you. And so again, you'll just be able to go on the back end of the Facebook page, and you'll be able to post things. You'll be able to see a lot of these metrics that Ellis is talking about. I know, like, I do my own Facebook page. Sometimes I do the church's page. I do the To Be Praised page. It's a lot to do digital engagement. So if we all just share a piece of it, I think it would be great. And even the stuff that you're doing, Brother Dev, with the No Call Ministry, we can put that link on the Facebook page. And so then again, more people will know what we're doing. We have a lot of great work that's happening in our church. Facebook is a great vehicle to let people outside of the confines of our congregation know what those things are, but also to engage and participate in it.
Yeah, can I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
Sure. Kuman had his hand up though, but go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kumar.
Go ahead.
No, what I was saying is that like Facebook page thing is a good idea. Like for example, we have the men's retreat coming up sometime. We could live stream it on the Facebook page, and I have like 1,000 friends. Ricardo have 1,000 friends. So also have, and like they'll see that, and then they might get interested. Oh, what's this? And then they look onto it.
Absolutely.
And then that's like.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be 1,000 people, but if we could get 50 people from 2 people, 100 people out of that 1,000.
Exactly.
To look at the Facebook page, and then because that's an easy way to, like, especially because Facebook's around the world, it's not just Connecticut.
Absolutely, yeah. We get a lot of people. I mean, this morning, one of my friends in Florida texted me a sermon from a guy in Charlotte.
Yeah.
So, like, we have the truth, and we can do that. We have thousands. You have how many sermons online? If we just commit to taking the link and putting it out into our own network, it will generate a lot of this evangelistic effort that I think Ellis is talking about.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just say as an encouragement to us as a group, even for those that may not be as digitally savvy as others, I can tell you from a business standpoint, the amount of content that you have online every month, original content, and the amount of members that you have, businesses would pay money for that. Meaning, me and Dev can attest to this. Like, there's an idea is nothing if you can't get it out to somebody. You have 50-something members, as well as every Sunday you have a Bible study and a sermon, worship. You have your Wednesday night. You have a Friday night online class and a Saturday class, right? And you have a dial-in Tuesday, for prayer. So, like, think of how much content original that is every month. So that is a positive. Like, we have a lot of content for the restrictions of us not having a building that can help pull people into the community. So any ideas that you all have in terms of Bible studies, whether it's like more Bible studies geared toward younger people or families or young men, young women, widows, we can do a lot with that even on a recording level. So even if it's just generating the ideas, I would encourage everyone to think of that, just some ways. And then in terms of sharing the information, that's the benefit that we have as a group that businesses don't have. You have 50-something people that have a spiritually invested interest in the success of the church, that even just by putting that hashtag COCBPT or just by putting the link on your Facebook or liking, all those things matter because Google and Facebook is only grabbing what they see the most of. So that's why it's a big deal of those 50-something people doing the same thing every time, every month. Because you may think, well, I only have 10 friends or something, it's not going to matter, but it does matter. Because in terms of metrics, whoever is the loudest, the squeakiest wheel on the internet, that gets the oil in terms of Facebook and Google and searches. So that means if somebody is searching a Bible study or anything related to some of our keywords in our area, some other congregation could be presented first before us, even though we have the ability to be first. We just want to increase our congregation's engagement to the website and to our social media. But I just say that as an encouragement because that is one of our assets as a church. There's congregations pretty much, well, every congregation in this state is doing live stream because you all did that. There wasn't a congregation around here doing live stream, doing online Bible studies, doing international Bible studies, none of those things. Jamaican School of Preaching online, that's you guys. Everyone else got encouraged by that because of you. So, like, I just say that as an encouragement to you all because I'm encouraged by that.
Okay.
All right. So,
All right.
thank you for that. So if I could just add or interject a little bit here. So in terms of evangelism, we can't expect someone to do something we're not doing, right? We just can't. It's not realistic. And if you expect people to come to church and participate, if you're not doing it, well, that's just foolish. So, and I know everyone, let me ask this question. Is there anyone in here that does not have a smartphone? Other than Sister Beulah, you have one. Other than Sister Beulah. Well, you have a smart. You're on Facebook, though, right? Oh, use your computer. So, is there anyone that doesn't have a smartphone or computer?
I have a computer.
Okay, sis. All right. So when I say that, so here's what we should all do, right? So, Stanley, you asked a long time ago in one of our sermons, everybody pull out their phone. There are people that were resistant for whatever the reason was. But honestly, guys, if we want people, if we're trying to grow the congregation, even if maybe you don't want to grow the congregation, what about saving lives? We've all been called to that commission, right? To save the lost. So you all have a responsibility. How you play it out is up to you. But every Sunday, I check in. I check into Bridgeport Church of Christ and I put a scripture. You don't have to do that, but everyone should check in. Why aren't you just checking into Church of Christ? That in itself is evangelism 101, right? No one wants to doorknob, no one wants to go hand out flyers, but this is the easiest way for people you interact with. And even if you think, wow, even if you think, even if you think someone may not, you don't have that many friends, then anyone may see it as it scrolls up on a thing. So I'm just saying, to encourage us, in order to encourage others, we have to make sure that we're putting in the work ourselves. I'm done.
Praise God. Next report.
All right.
That's my next.
We did that when Brother Bethea was here. So that's his subject matter. Ellis, how many people responded to that, those 4 days?
Oh goodness, yeah, that's thousands. Yeah,
it was
that was our highest user interaction of any event that we had.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was just,
in one day, I think we had, goodness, 5,000 or more.
Yeah, something
views.
like that.
Yeah, it was something crazy. I have to check, but yeah, that was insane, and that was just a blitz. That wasn't even a full 24 hours. That was just a Facebook blitz that we tried, and that got huge user interaction, as well as people writing in questions to his Bible study from the night before.
Right. Okay. You know what? So when we did that on that Sunday, the power of information, the younger ministers contacted me. Don't you know they did what we did that Sunday on a regular basis? See somebody else to take the idea that you have, think it's a good idea, and they will incorporate. He said, we just contacted young people in the congregation. They do that every time we worship now. So think about it. And that has brought awareness to their congregation and their friends. All the kids that do that, their friends now, their youth group has doubled because kids want to come and hang out with them because they're using social media and using those kinds of forms of communication. I mean, this is the age that we're living in, y'all, and it's working. Okay, Sister Stanley, finances, do we have money?
So that's a loaded question, but I have an answer for you. So we do have a positive bank account, praise God. Currently, we have $168,126.23 in the bank. That does also include the $30,000 that we have for the building fund. One of the things I will say about the bank, so we're in the process of changing bank accounts and signing off on papers. Because we need to, somehow they tied accounts together with Trumbull, but anyway, but that has nothing to do with our funds, right? Nothing to do with that. But we are setting up new accounts for that as soon as we can get the paperwork right. And then one of the things, like we have a debit card to, like if we go to Home Depot to get stuff for Fifth Sunday or fellowship or plates and napkins and all that stuff. So we are going to actually transition to I think it's a business account. So we're still trying to work out the details with the bank because there was a winery or someone that bought wine or used the church account number. So not here, but fraud. It was a fraud thing. And so, yeah, and I don't remember how many dollars it was, but the bank reimbursed that dollar amount. But when you have this type of just blanket account, normally they don't reimburse. And if it were my personal account, because I've had it happen to me personally, they reimburse. When they look at the church account, the way it's set up today, it's up to their discretion to reimburse. So they happen to reimburse, which I think is a big thing. So the bank is saying you guys need to transition into another type of account where you have that security and protection because you just really have money sitting out there. So the good news is, again, we have $168,000, $168,126.93 in the account. Who's the billing fund? I will say that last year we paid $31,000 to the Holiday Inn, a little more than $31,000. So I want you to think about conceptually, multiply that by 10. I mean, I can do the math and give you the numbers, but I want you to think about that amount of money. Another reason why they love us there, right? Because we are really contributing to their bottom line. we need to really focus on getting a building because we have money. Just imagine 10 years worth of money that we had back that we can add to our current account. I think it's a blessing we have what we have, right? And shows the stewardship over the money. When we first started out 10 years ago, we had $14,000. That's all we had. Blanket across the board. And so we've been able to not only increase our finances, our bottom line, but also have expenditures for activities and things that we do, including paying our monthly expense and the phone. And, you know, we've got a storage and also the hotel. So that goes to show you, I mean, we have the money there and we're bringing it in, but I think we need to really be more do our due diligence in terms of trying to find a place. For the Fifth Sunday Fellowship, which is one of our big things for the year, knowing that we don't have a building, it costs us a little more than $2,500 when you think about the venue and you think about the food that we have to have. So that's really our highlight every year, right? Is the money that we spend into that. This year, we're going to be spending more. I don't know what the budget is yet for the 10th year anniversary, right? So we expect to have a venue. We expect to have food. There's going to be activities and things that are going to go on. So just keep that in mind in terms of the finances. I will also add this. If church is canceled, if you are on vacation, if you are sick and you don't come to worship, if there's inclement weather and you can't make it, please make sure that you send your contribution or double up the next week, right? So just because we're not present doesn't mean that we don't have to meet our financial obligation. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Oh, the other thing is we're also going to change programs. So the program that we're going to go to QuickBooks, which is what I used when I was doing the finances at our former congregation. The program that we have now is old and it's non-existent anymore. The people are they just, you know, yeah, exactly. Disappeared. And so we're going to go to QuickBooks to make it a little easier. So that's just an FYI. That's all I have on the finances so far. Any questions?
I had something on that. I can't see. I'm Ray Charles. I don't know if someone have a hand up.
No hands are up. It's Ray Charles. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see.
What I alluded to on Sunday during contribution, I want to encourage everyone to focus on that, the difference between a standard and your circumstances. A friend of mine has a baby. It costs $1,000 a week for daycare. Doesn't matter if the child is sick. Doesn't matter if the child is vacationing with the mom and the dad. The $1,000 is to secure the kid's slot. If for 1 week she don't pay the $1,000, let's say she says, well, my child didn't come 2 days, I'm only paying $800 or $600, her child is not welcome at that daycare the next week. Anyone who's been to a cultural club, there's a West Indian cultural club in Hartford, there's a Jewish community center in on Park Ave, your dues are due. The gym is due. Whether you go or not, your gym membership is due. Right? Like, so these things, Netflix is due, right? Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, like these things are already due. Sometimes I feel like we feel like, well, if I bought something for church, for Prospect, that was my giving. That's not your giving. Or I don't have as much money this month as last month, so I can't give. That's not true. That's what I'm saying. These other things in life, they don't. My friend's daycare don't care about her finances, right? The bill is $1,000. That is whatever their agreement. So I'm only saying that to encourage us to look at giving more from a biblical standpoint as a standard, not as based on your circumstances. Because your circumstances, like for example, January, most of us who celebrate holidays will traditionally have lower financial circumstances than we did in December, but I can't give God less because of that, because the standard is still to give. And that's the thing that I would encourage us to look at it that way, because the only way to come out of the hotel into a building is if we look at giving differently, each family though. Because it will take a lot to put a down payment onto a facility. Or if you take that $31,000 and divide it by 12, that's about $2,500 for rent or mortgage on average. So again, everyone wants a building, but it will take every family to give on a consistent basis more. So I just wanted to say that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering, I know that the accounting system that we're using right now is outdated. But when we go to QuickBooks, will you be able to put out a report in regards to like a quarterly basis and everything?
Yes, and I'm gonna go back 10 years. I'm gonna go all the way back, yes, and so that it generates the reports regularly, like we said, yes, definitely. Something else I was gonna say to that, I didn't say anything.
I have something to say. So we do have on the website the tab, if you go on the church website, hopefully all of you do that, the second to the last tab that says giving is one way that you can online give if we have like a closure due to weather. But again, so I don't know how tapped in people are to other church networks, but like I have friends who without shame ask me to donate to their church's events, activities, or just to their church. Do not be ashamed of the gospel. That's what Paul said. Ask people to click on the website and say, hey, my church is trying to raise money for a building. Can you give $10? Can you give $15? I've given more money this season to Girl Scout cookies. I haven't even gotten my cookies yet. Like, it's just because a cute kid asked me. I think that we sometimes take for granted the fact that like we have the Holy Spirit inside of us, and that if it's a person of peace, God will initiate something in that person's heart to give to us. So we are doing a great job, I think, of raising money. But again, like how many of us have given money? I've given money to political campaigns. I've given money to kids outside. My mom is always giving money to these little kids outside of Stop and Shop for sporting activities and stuff. Like we can send an email to our friends and say, like, can you please donate to our building fund? Can you please donate to the Nepal ministry? Can you please donate to XYZ? And then when they do so, they can leave like a note in their giving and there's money. Y'all want to cut me off?
I gave the political campaign and the person didn't even win. I want my money back.
Shade City.
Okay,
We'll work on it.
all right, so I still have the floor. But I'm
Your
done.
time up.
No, I'm done with that topic. I still have the floor.
You just put that on.
I still have the floor, and so my next thing is the ladies' Bible class. I mean, let's not shade the ladies.
Does that have anything to do with finance?
Oh, no, I said I'm done with the finances.
This is her second.
This is my, yeah, I'm going to, right. Yes, this is my next report. Everybody, this is my next report. Let's not shade
Praise
the
God for the
ladies.
ladies.
Listen, let's
Go
not
ahead.
shade the ladies is all I'm trying to say, right?
You got 3
Thank you,
minutes.
thank you, Priscilla. So the ladies' Bible class, as you all know, we do meet regularly the third Saturday of every month. We are studying a book called Women of Action. Believe it or not, we've been studying this book since January of 2018. And I can tell you, we are in chapter 2, just got there. So that just goes to show you how in depth our conversations are, and really the input that the women have. And so I do want to say that I appreciate all the women that do make an effort, right? Because it's an effort to come out. We could all be doing other things. So I appreciate that. I will say that in 2019, in terms of leveling up, that we should all try to at least contact one woman that doesn't participate, and just like every time we meet, contact one woman and ask her to come. You know what? You never know, she may come. I find that if I'm texting a couple people, specifically, if I text them, they'll show up, but if I don't, they won't. So, for us, if we're going to increase our ladies' Bible class, I want to get to the point where we can increase the numbers so we can make more of a community impact, right? And then we need to talk about going back to collecting items for Nepal, but we can talk about that at another point. But that's my story on the ladies' Bible class. And so this year, I hope to get through more than chapter 2.
Okay.
And also, just piggybacking onto that, we have an event coming up that will be announced soon, so we're planning stuff.
All right, I want to jump to the committees right now, and I really need us to volunteer for this and get it going, because our paperwork is not right. We're not strong in the paperwork department of what these people are asking for. Okay, so our bylaws have to be changed and addressed. So I'm going to ask Attorney Mocktan, retain her for her services to get us in line with that, and another professional to get us in line with that, to make it clear to you, so some of you don't start thinking differently about bylaws and things like that. The state of Connecticut don't tell us what to do with our money. We tell the state of Connecticut what we're doing with our money in terms of commercial corporation. Okay, so does everybody understand that? Now, when I talk to people at United Bank about mortgages, church mortgages, they wanted update bylaws. They wanted to know what was the leadership tier looks like. So if they came to us or with a problem or something, who do they talk to? We have to get that in check. So People's United was one part of the loan source that we were using, and the Solomon Foundation that give millions of dollars to Church of Christ members and their churches is another bank entity, lending institution entity that requires us to have 3 pieces of property that they will fly out here and investigate. They would tell us whether it's structurally sound. They'll tell us what the value of it is, if it's worth them and us investing in, and then they would write out a check. Okay, I found out about them when I went to the Mid-Atlantic. New Haven Church of Christ is getting ready to deal with it if they haven't started the process. Southwest is getting ready to deal with them if they haven't started the process. And a couple of churches in the Atlanta area have already gotten tens of millions of dollars from them to do this big renovation and all the stuff that they do down there. So those are the 2 lending institutions that I need a committee to work with. So I need some folks to volunteer to get that started and done. And I would like that to be done before the end of this month, to at least have something where we have sat down as a committee and put together. I have 2 realtors that have sent me some properties, buildings in the city of Bridgeport. So I need some folks to raise their hand and let's get involved in that and get this ongoing by the end of the month. So when we send this information to them, we have all our T's crossed and our I's dotted. Don, you have no choice but to be on that because you're part of the finances.
So if I can just interject, part of it is research, right? We need someone or some bodies to research church mortgages, right? Just go on the internet and search to see if there are companies or institutions out there that are willing to lend.
And what do
right?
you require?
And what do they require? That's a start, right? We have to have something to start with. And so if someone can raise their hand to do that, that would be most helpful because that would help us down the road. We don't want to just use any, I'm thinking that we can probably get more bang for our buck with someone that is accustomed to lending to churches as opposed to a commercial bank. I could be wrong, right? But I won't know, and you all won't know unless we do the research. Someone does it to find out. And is there, and then you go into, of course, what's required, what are their interest rates look like. I will also add that in order to have a building, we have to secure the loans. What does that mean? That means that some persons, more than one, will have to also sign on the dotted line when we secure a mortgage. So I know it sounds frightening. I remember when we did it in Trumbull, when they built a new addition. I believe we were ones that also signed to make sure that we were going to, not only that everybody pledged to increase their giving, but you had to have individuals and couples to sign, or single people, whoever was willing to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to stick this through, I'm going to sign as well. So think about that. And, you know, when you think about yourself, your finances, can you sign on the dotted line to support the church in securing the loan? It has to be secured. And the only way it's going to be secured, here's the thing, you have one or two options. First one is to sign to secure it. The second one is raise enough money where we pay cash. Now, I'm not sure which is easier for you, but you might, this is something you can think about. So there are always options, but you know, it's either we're raising enough money, we're paying cash, or we have to sign on the dotted line because we need a loan.
And that's the second committee. The second committee is mailing out emails and letters through Church of Christ Global to congregations that we know will send us money. Now, we have given money all around the world. You have. Our pocketbooks have done that. Now we're going to ask those people that we have given money and supported and partnered up to give us money now for this building. We need to get in the building this year, y'all. All right. This is crunch time now. So we're going to ask all these $1 million congregations that I told Marcus I was going to send something to this congregation. They put away $30,000 a week. We're going to ask them for money. If the Brotherhood give us money, like Sister Stanley said, we won't have to borrow any money. Okay? Prayfully, and it's my prayer through fasting, and that will happen, and will happen for us. Okay? So that's the next committee I wanted to talk to you about.
Can we get a list of the people who are going to be on the financial committee?
Yes.
Before we jump into the next one?
I just need somebody to raise their hand.
Let's start, because there's a list of committees.
Yeah, one thing.
So
one
there's
second, Erica. Ellis wants to add one thing. Go ahead.
Sorry. This kind of feeds off of what I was saying earlier, because I have heard certain members more recently asking about a building, which is great. A building takes work. This is some of the work I was talking about. It's like some of you as families may say, oh, I want to own a home, right? That sounds nice as an American dream, but without money, you can't. So when you start saying about you want to have a building, you have to look at your personal finances, yours, not other members. That's what I'm saying about those who have the ability. How you live your life and you manage your family impacts the congregation. That involves working, that involves family structure, giving, see, all those things. That's what I'm saying is like really think, because when it's time to get a mortgage, someone has to sign. They don't care that you're a church. They want a human being to be the guarantor of that loan. And see, that's when we'll see which hands will go up. That's why I'm saying for us to encourage to look at it holistically from the start, so we can do it together like a family, just like a family does for buying a home and switching from rent to home. As a church family, we got to work as a team to transition from the hotel to the purchase. But you can put my name down for that, Erica. Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so let's start with we'll start maybe with 4 people in each committee, just so that we have an even number, and we can always revise this. So, Mom, you're one person, and Ellis is going to be another person. Are there 2 more people that want to be on the financial committee? This is for the building, again, to research the lending opportunities and church mortgage opportunities and requirements. Okay, hold up. So, are there 2 people? Okay, Sister Crystal.
So I don't want to be in the research part.
But Dad was saying you're already a person, like you're by nature.
I thought it was the second level.
No, by finances,
Okay.
because we need to know.
Okay.
You know, what are we paying every
I was
month
going to review on the back end, but.
on the back end?
Okay,
I wasn't
so
gonna-
Sister Stanley, Brother Stanley the second, Sister Crystal, who was the last person?
So was there 2 different committees, one in regards to the bylaws and then also one in regards to this end of it, or is it all tied into one? I'm a little confused.
No, they're separate.
Separate. Church loan committee is first, and the property search committee is second.
And the bylaws.
Or you
Where's the
can put
bylaws
the-
fit in is what I'm trying to find out.
The bylaws is going to be in the loan committee.
Oh, is it?
Yes, because we have to get the paperwork right for that.
Okay.
No, I understand.
For that. So that committee will be in charge of getting the paperwork right and finding the right loans for us. Those 4 people will be involved in that.
So the financial committee is a part of the same thing you call the law committee?
Right. Because the property search committee is a different committee.
So what did we expect to have done by the end of the month? I thought the bylaws and everything needed to be done so that we can move forward with the rest of the stuff.
That'll be part of that search, loan committee. You can at least have bylaws set up by the end of the month. And then the other portion of that can come at any time with those people involved.
Well, the bylaws will have to be approved by the congregation.
Yes, by the end of the month. So we would have to have another meeting with the congregation of 15 minutes or whatever. And all y'all, please, I'm encouraging you. Don't look at me and start looking for me to study what bylaws are. And please don't come back with stuff that don't make any sense. Just study what bylaws are. It's not complicated. Okay? It's not. It's deciding what you're going to do and the restrictions that you're going to do with contributions. Okay? I just want you to know that. I know a lot of y'all that are new don't even know what the current bylaws are. You know what I'm saying? But understand, just do a little bit of study in the next couple of days to understand what bylaws are.
I don't mind helping with that. The question is that have we fallen into a situation where the bank says we need X, Y, Z in your bylaws in order for us to write you a loan?
No, but your people, for one institution, London institution, People United Bank asked for.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. And our bylaws are 10 years old. So nobody is making us do anything. They just asked for it. Okay, now, as a congregation that's 10 years old, we don't need 10-year-old ago bylaws because there is me, Patrick, all of us that came from another congregation. This congregation is going to a young congregation. We're going to die out. I'm not saying we die tomorrow, but I'm just saying you need to be involved in the structure of the church. Okay, so just understand that. This is nothing complicated. It's nothing for you to get hot and bothered and worried about. It's just a formality when it comes down to asking for money. Whenever you ask somebody for money, they want to know what the structure of that commercial entity look like. It's unfortunate that banks fall under those guidelines. Okay, but that's just the way it is, just that simple. And Denisha, from a tax perspective, can explain it to you in detail. It's nothing spiritual. Okay, it has never been. But remember, the United States government looks at churches and 501s as a corporation, okay, as commercial. They don't look at us like spiritual. So they don't want to hear 2 cents about how we feel about Jesus. Okay, just anything that has anything to do with money sitting in a bank or contributions coming from a body of people, they want to know how structured it is. Okay, and that's it. It's not hard, Kurt.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of, I'm kind of slow, so I like to just kind of move here. So we're going to, this committee is for the finance and the bylaws.
Yes.
We have 4 people right now. We have Donna Stanley, Ellis Stanley II, Crystal, and Patrick. That's where we are right now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same
Yeah.
page.
And once the bylaws is presented to the congregation and the congregation agreed to the bylaws are gone. You will hear about them once a year. Okay, that's it. And that's where we're going to keep it. So again, those of us who are participating in this, it is nothing special. Those of you who know us don't make us special because we're not. Okay, we're just 4 people that raise their hand. That's all it is, okay? All right, okay, good.
Okay.
All right, so
next
you all
one?
sit on that 4, so we need volunteers now for the
Those-
property search committee.
Property search committee, I have you,
Okay,
Brother Kirk.
I have Aussie Realty and AMS Realty who's currently sending me stuff.
Okay, so
Those are 2 realties that I've been dealing with.
the supportive entity. So we need 2 more people. I put David for think
I
about.
was just about to say, suggest that we just make sure that David is on it, we can ask him, follow that.
David has been working on him and Cindy have been working on every project.
Cindy.
So both
But
of
she's
them,
been
or should
doing the
we use
walk
them? Yeah.
around, so
Okay.
put them down. They would want to be involved in that. Because they've been involved in it.
Okay. And so again, just these are committees. So the mindset is that the committees these are work groups. So the committees will be doing work, but all of the work will be reported out. So when there's bylaw edits, that'll be reported out. We'll probably have to have a reconvening so that we all can read the bylaws. For those who don't know what bylaws are, we can,
Yes.
do all that. Same thing with the search committee, that information. Awesome. So now we're in our third committee group, the financial mail out.
Support mail out committee.
The mailings.
I've raised my hands for that.
Which one?
We need as many people as
It's
we
a
can,
financial
y'all.
support and mail out committee.
Yeah.
So what that'll probably look like is,
We have a letter.
as a nonprofit person, again, there's tons of money to be made in the nonprofit world. So this is not the house of God work, right? This is just like we are a 501c. So we can mail out, we call them letters of appeal, and they're really feel good stories. So we could use, let's say, a story of Lily, prime example. We may mail that out to people and say, you know, we have a member of our congregation who we have been praying for. Look how well she's doing. This is the work that the Church of Christ in Bridgeport is able to do. Boom, that might go to 25 churches on the East Coast. Then we have
support Tuesday night dinners to
Right.
Prospect.
Exactly. So we may find a bunch of churches in cities, Philly, Chicago, wherever, people who understand and identify with urban work. We can talk about the Prospect House, have a photo of the people. We'll do probably some photo release forms, things like that. So it's really just letters of appeal. And then you have like an attachment at the bottom. And so the intention is that people will read this letter, be so compelled to either go on the website or tear off their perforated edges, mail it back to us with a great, awesome, huge check that we can put into the bank.
Good.
So
Into churches that we'll be asking money for. Churches
and
that
I'm
have
gonna
large
try
budgets.
to, and I know that the nonprofit that I work for, there's a lot of people who have asked me about other things. And so we have a major donor who is looking to give to our church. And so this is why we need updated bylaws. There are like millionaires in the state of Connecticut. So we got to look like we're ready to receive money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that God does not have the hands waiting and able. We need to be prepared to receive. So part of what I want to do through these mail outs is also send it to just local wealthy individuals who want to support urban work, but particularly urban work in Bridgeport, so that we can not only get church funding, but just like private donations. Cool. So I put my name down. Who's joining me? You.
Nadine, put Nadine's name down.
She
Put
said
Nadine's name
Sister
down.
Beulah said she'll be happy to help.
And you gonna help
Did you say
too?
that, Sister Beulah? Okay.
You gonna
I
help
just wanted to
Nadine?
share.
Okay, how many
Sister,
more
you not
names?
gonna help?
Well, I was thinking to put down
but you
Sister
put
Belcher,
David and
Sister
Sadie.
Shirley.
You don't
Okay.
want it.
We'll have to
easy.
see who else.
Sister Belcher was the only one that would be committed to securing a loan.
Any of our sisters that stay home want to help?
Nadine,
Because there's a level of this that's just gonna have to be like daytime stuff, to be honest. And that's not like going to the places again. It's like if we have draft.
Well, y'all doing this sign language
Yeah,
stuff
can you-
here, reading
can you
lips and
please?
everything. So I'm kind of like, can we get another name? I mean, and that committee would be out of the way.
I was kind of thinking of David Montez.
She is
No,
volunteering
She's
everybody
volunteering
with
other
all
people we need not here.
No,
We're not,
so
we're
here's
not
the
taking,
thing.
we're not soliciting names of people that are not
Not
here.
everybody in the church is here today.
Because David is feeling pressure.
So I really think that it's
Sister
possible
Karen, thank
for
you.
us to leave some spots open, and then we can talk to people afterwards.
Right,
Just-
but here's the thing, right? So if
Yeah.
people are not here, it's also a level of detachment from the work. So we do want to walk away with knowing what people in this room are doing. And particularly for something like this, like I have a full-time job, I go to school and I run a company. So we need everyone here, particularly people who are not working, again, to like put forth a level of effort. So Sister Karen, Sister Belcher, because she had talked to you about it, Sister Beulah, and myself. What's the
Okay.
next committee?
All right, we good there.
Can I just,
Community Outreach Committee?
well, can I talk about benevolence? Because I feel like we're lacking in this area.
This is
So no, because this is committee, we need names on the list for benevolence because we are lacking. And there are sometimes that, you know, I'll reach out to someone or ask someone to coordinate and I just think it needs to be, and I've reached out in the past, so I'm going to put it on the floor again today. Someone needs to own benevolence. And when I say that, I mean, if someone is needs a meal, then that person will coordinate with the massives and say, okay, you do this day, this day, this day. Everything goes through them. It's not a difficult job. We just need to make sure no one is left out. I don't want anyone to feel slighted that someone acknowledged them at one point and then someone else didn't get acknowledged. Nadine, I think you should do it.
But
You
but
just
that's
can't speak
that's
to
really
what's
not on
on
the
the
agenda right
agenda.
now. I'll put it on a talking point for Ken. We don't have this place for the rest of the afternoon. Can I just get through? We got the committees, a couple of committees that people are signed up on. That's great. The community outreach committee, that'll be part of that. So can we come back to that? So can I at least read out some of the other stuff that we got to do? Because some of us got to go. That's all, and we can get on it because we got to get these monthly events on the table for your hearing, so you'll know that each month we have this to do. Okay. All
Brother
right.
Kirk
So
is one person. So Brother Kirk, he's gonna do that.
okay. All right. So he's going to the bathroom and he'll be back. The men's meeting.
Community.
Men, we're going to be meeting every 8 weeks at 7 p.m. on a Friday. Prayerfully, this date will work for all the men. I'm going to keep throwing dates out there for us to meet. Place will be determined, location will be determined. It's going to change. But if I can get the men to participate in a men's meeting only every 8 weeks at 7 p.m., we'll try that to see if that works. I have the dates down for you. Please put them down. We have this information again in the back, put on the table on Sunday tomorrow. But February 22nd, and then 8 weeks after that, for the exception of November, Black Friday falls on that. David, I moved it up to November 22nd. So the date is February 22nd, April 19th, June 14th, August 9, October 4th, and November 22nd. Okay, so we'll put this up so you can have that tomorrow, but that'll be our 8 weeks men's meeting every 8 weeks, okay? I'm sorry if it's gonna fall on, I looked at our calendar and looked at the Unity Fellowship calendar and made sure I was in between some things, but I'm sure this is gonna be a lover's weekend or a vacation or something like that. But those are the dates. Those are the dates that we could try to make. Come on.
Do you have a time yet?
7 p.m. 7 p.m. Okay, Patrick?
June 14th coincides with the
Men's retreat, that's right, I looked at that. I have to move that back up a week, I'm sorry, I forgot about that, the men's retreat, the 14th and the 15th. So I'm gonna move that back up to the previous Friday.
What day?
Do you need a location for the meeting?
Hmm?
Do you need a
To
location?
be, yeah, I will need one, but we're gonna need a location. It'd be ideal if we can get one for all the meetings, but if we can't, we just have to find one.
Meet at my house.
I don't want to do it in anyone's home. Sorry. I want to get us out. So June 7th, I'll make a correction on that.
The only suggestion with that is that our anniversary is the meeting is gonna be that, 9th. So I don't know if that's gonna be a problem, because we're gonna have a lot of stuff that weekend. It's fine,
We'll see. By then, we shouldn't be so long-winded, unless there's an issue or something that's up that we need to talk about.
How long the meeting will go?
I'm gonna try my very best to keep it under an hour and a half. Yeah. I hopefully everybody will be off work by then and can get there. We generally start by 7:15 if everybody can get there, but no more than an hour and a half. So 8:30, we should be through with these meetings. Okay. Young Men's Community Meeting, Saturday, Housatonic Community College. Kurt, can you just give us a 3-minute synopsis of that and what we're trying to do? We have 2 young men that are here today that was part of this program. So it's kind of like going to mirror the carry-out work that we were doing for the 7th and 8th graders. So Kurt will give us and tell us about the meetings that we had and stuff like that.
Sure. So the point of the program is to engage young men in the Bridgeport community. We are going to be rolling out life skill classes based in Christ-centered principles. We partnered with the Max Mentoring Program, which is a program in Bridgeport Public High Schools that help connect mentees with college mentors that go to local schools. We have been able to partner with them to start with a cohort of 15 young men that are a part of that program. And every Saturday, for 6 weeks, we're going to do some programming with them, workshops, trainings, things like that, based off of the curriculum that Pastor Stanley has. We also, something exciting that's happening, we have there's an art show on Friday here in Bridgeport that an individual reached out to me that wants to help to raise money for this program. So a portion of the proceeds from what they sell at the art show, they designed some hoodies specifically for this program. So a portion of the proceeds is going to go to this program. We met with Faith, who's the executive director of this the Max program. So she's very excited to work with us. Dr. Brody, the president of Housatonic Community College, is excited to offer the space for us to do this kind of programming. So the whole point is that, we need to build up young men in our community in terms of Christ-like principles and offer them a strong foundation for them to go out into the world and be men. So we are going to use that as a vehicle to engage them and then pull them into the ministry to be a part of the church. So that's pretty much that's pretty much it at this point. There's a whole outline that I can have prepared for the church to have tomorrow. So the start date is tentatively April 6th at Housatonic. And again, we're going to run it for 6 weeks, culminate with a trip, which will be like a tour of different workplaces here in Connecticut, such as WWE, NBC, Diageo, things like that. And about it.
What's the age group of these young men?
16 to 18, high school students starting from juniors and seniors. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, thank you. We have our Unity Church Youth Conference, May 18th, write that down. All 4 churches will be involved in that. Unity, so we're gonna have a piece that we're gonna be responsible for along with the other 3 congregations. So May 18th, put that on the calendar for the kids. That's a Unity conference explosion that we're trying to start here within our Unity congregation. I have 2 things that I want us to get involved in, and one is going to require a trip committee. Several people from several congregations keep asking me, because I put it out there like 2-3 years ago, that we were going to do a Christian social event and go to the Holy Land. So 2 people ran into me 2018 and said, are we still going to do that? So I said we were, so we just got to form a committee to do it, an annual spiritual retreat. That can be a cruise to the Caribbean. So Bridgeport will be responsible for that, and all the churches that I spoke with, and we can send this information out as a committee as people who want to be involved in that. We can fly to New York or fly to Miami or drive to New York or drive to Miami, and people will get on a cruise ship and have a spiritual weekend, 4 days, 5 days, or whatever it is that the committee comes up with. There are other churches on the West Coast that does this. There's a church in Atlanta that does this, but there's nobody up here northeast that do that. That is a great work for us to get together and get our whole New England community together. And also along with that, a trip to Israel. Things seems pretty calm now. I don't know what's going to happen in a few years, but that trip, we want to do that trip in 2022. 2022, a trip to Israel, okay? So if we can get a couple of people, at least 3 people for this committee who love this kind of thing, getting on the phone, calling travel agencies, finding out the information in group rates and stuff like that, because that's all it is. And then letting us know, and then we can get this information out to congregations who want to participate in it, what it's going to cost, what the deposit is going to be, blah, 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 book rooms, set of rooms, all this kind of stuff, hotels, if we decide to fly to the Caribbean and do our thing there, or some sort of resort. So we need 3 people.
I can reach out to Ronnie, only because I know she loves to, she plans things, like trips all the time and every year. So I can reach out to her and email to mom.
Ronalda, Sister Stanley. Sister Stanley. Okay. Oh, y'all like this one. I'm gonna take my name down then. I see what it is now. Sister Karen, Sister Nadine. That's the Caribbean cruise. That's the one y'all want to plan, huh?
I seen this thing on Tel Aviv, and did you see the commercials on Tel Aviv? It was beautiful. I mean, it's just, it was great. The hotels were great, and 2 people that I talked that is Jewish that I talked to, they go every 2 years, and they say they're happy, they're safe, it's no big deal, it's security everywhere. And you fly on El Al, which is Israel's own airlines. You don't have to worry about nobody messing with the plane and all that stuff. So it was a great trip. So the date for that is 2022.
Okay, so we should circle back though, because we only had one name for the community outreach committee, and I just want to secure a couple people, more people for that.
Right, and that's where I wanted to go back to
with the benevolence.
With benevolence. Okay.
Okay.
With mom.
So Sister Nadine wants to be a part of benevolence. Brother Kirk is gonna be a part of the community outreach. I think it is twofold, but are there maybe like 2 or 3 more people who their heart is driven?
So are we gonna call this community outreach and benevolence?
Was your name gonna go in there?
My name was not going to go on there, but I will add for the benevolent, right? So, Nadine. So I think in all committees, there needs to be, especially with the benevolence, someone that spearheads it, right? So we have people on committees, but we have to have a leader, a facilitator, because if we don't, sometimes we get off track and we start going down rabbit holes when we don't need to. So you can put whoever you, if you think there's a specific individual that you say, I really want you on this committee, like need you on benevolence for whatever reason, right? Because we all have different talents, then I think we should reach out to them. They may not be here today, right? But it takes more than one person to orchestrate benevolence.
Yeah, let's see who wants to sign up.
When you meet, we can pick a head.
Yeah.
When you meet at the meeting, you can pick your head. It's just that I don't like picking people that didn't represent. Again, I'm kind of hard on things. People who wanted to be here, people felt the need to be here are here. Now, I understand there are other circumstances that kept people away, but we making decisions today. Okay, and we have to move on today. I can't wait on other people or you giving me feedback on what somebody else may think, may do, may want to be a part of, because we got to get going. Each month we want to have an event. Okay, so just keep that in mind and stress that to the people that you're going to talk to on the phone. If you're going to be on this committee, it's got to be a committee of progress. Got to be a committee of people really wanting to do what they're asked to do, because every month we got to have an event. Okay, is that clear to everybody?
The community outreach was that until I just wanted to
I'm glad you asked.
Awesome.
I intend to be a part of that. I'm able when I understand exactly what.
Okay. Okay.
Can I say, or you want to say? You want me to say, or you want to say?
You can say.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Go ahead and say.
You sound like you wanted to say.
Yeah, because it sounds like you want to say something. Go ahead and say.
Because I want to, yeah. So,
yeah, you don't want to usurp any authority, right?
I don't. Listen, submission. I'm with it. So we'll be planning community activities for like the Bridgeport community at large. So one example of that could be, you know, come on, you host a movie night. So maybe like hosting that, but really our goal is not necessarily just fellowshipping with us. We really want to like tap into our own networks and say each of us can we bring 2 or 3 other young people. So maybe we focus on people in their 20s and 30s again to evangelize.
How old?
I'm just we talking about the movie night for the younger people. But we'll do something for y'all too. But maybe like bowling is something that Kirk had written down. So if we organize like a couple of lanes, and again, like our focus is to outreach to people on the outside. So really just things like that. Really, yeah, and really trying to like,
You got 2 names.
one is tap into some of the community activities that already exist, because there's a lot of stuff in Bridgeport that we should probably be a little more present for. So we don't always have to host things. We can just like bring a bunch of people to something else too, and then like have our quote unquote like stamp on it to say Church of Christ Bridgeport did blah 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 blah.
Okay.
So how many people?
Yeah, to add to that, in terms of, in addition to outreach, I think that we should like, you know, do engagement as well. So I think that, I don't know if it sounds like the church has done this before in the past, like we do like canvassing and outreach and stuff, engagement like that. However, like in my professional work, this is kind of like the stuff that I do. So I want to be able to, like if we get a committee together, also offer some training about how we can do effective community engagement and what canvassing looks like, metrics, data, how we can really like record how effective our engagement and outreach is going. Phone banking, if we want to do something like that. I have tons of lists of people in Bridgeport that we can use to, like, if we have an event, how do we build for the event, and how do we track what our work has done to bring people into those events and into the ministry. So in terms of outreach, we also want to couple that with engagement as well, and how we go about it the most effective way.
Okay, I want us to give it a week for the committees and the names that we have put on the committees. But I want to really stress, and I know this will work because we do it in my job with large corporations, half an hour. I don't want to give these committees and these meetings any more time than that. You know why? Because it's going to just take too long and too much is going to come out. If we restrict the time that we meet, we get more done. Okay, and we don't have time. A lot of us just don't have time. Okay, so once we get the committees together, we get the names of the people on the committees. We will submit that to info Church of Christ BBT. I'll find out who's on what. I will give you the dates and the times for the meeting. You just send in when you can meet. It is only going to be for half an hour. If Sunday is the ideal time because we're there together, after the 8 weeks, we'll have time for us to come in as committees at 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay, because tomorrow we're going to have our first new converts class. So we have a place, we have a time. But just remember, we only need a half an hour. Okay, just half an hour. All right.
Kurt, yeah, you could put David Mike on that too.
I kind of think that these are two such big benevolence plus the community outreach. I really think they should be divided, separated. I think they're really two different focuses.
Okay. Are there other people who want to be on benevolence?
Okay, so about the benevolence. What Sister Ruby does right now, isn't that similar?
That is a part of it.
That's a part of it, right? Because she sends out cards to everyone.
Flowers, yeah.
Okay, so will that continue, or that's gonna be a totally?
No,
So will
that
the Sister Ruby be part of the benevolence
Yeah.
committee?
Yes,
then?
I think
Yeah.
should be part of it.
Okay,
And then
okay,
I do
just
the
asking, I
emails.
just wanted to be separate.
The emails, yeah, Ryan, I do the emails for birthday
Yeah.
and sick. But you guys need like.
No, so
actually
going right. So your benevolence in terms of the emails continues, Ruby's continues in terms of cards and flowers. But we also need benevolence when it comes to hospital and meals and checking on each
I
other.
guess what I'm saying is tied all together then.
Yeah, still
Just
under
all
the
together,
umbrella
all
of
together.
it's under the
Because
umbrella
they're already doing
of
that part, so
yeah.
that's all together.
That's all
So
part
nothing
of
is
the
being
Yeah.
nothing is being deleted or omitted simply because we're using the word benevolence.
Yeah, it's all under the same umbrella.
There is stuff that is ongoing, will continue to function in the capacity that is functioning.
I do want to, so if we take those 4 names, Nadine, Ruby, Crystal, and Ronnie, just as an encouragement, benevolence is non-gender biased, right? So I think a man should probably be on that group because we have had men who have been in the hospital, men who are sick. And so we'll leave one slot open so that
That's an excellent idea.
one of
You
you
can put
men.
me on there.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
Thank
What
you.
was that? That is-
Yeah, this way a brother can go meet a brother and see a brother. Yes, yes.
And Ricardo? Benevolence?
Yeah, good. That's a good.
No, just want to make sure.
You sound like you're.
No, because I think you said community outreach, so it's more.
Yeah, you can do.
I vote, okay.
All right, moving on. We're going to start a Bible degree program. I will pick the school that will participate in this Bible degree program in 2 years. If the school cannot meet the deadline that we will set up for this, that school will not be picked. I have Bear Valley, which is tuition free. I have SIBI, and I have the International Jamaican School of Preaching. We will have a start date, and we will have a graduation date, and we will have a degree. So that's that, and those are the 3 schools that I'm looking at, and whichever school wins out on meeting our needs, our starting day and our graduation date, that's the school that we're gonna partner up with. And I know you 2 guys are looking for ministries, Kurt, you and Ricardo. And these things are gonna be designed for you to get your degree and get your specific interest in that specific field directly geared to. So I just want to let you know that, and I've been on the phone all of last week talking to these groups to make sure that they will meet our needs. Okay? All right, let me go down these months that we have here. Some of the things that are in these months are what we're already doing, but it's what we're going to do. And a couple of the things we were doing before, we're just going to bring them back and do them on a regular basis. Now, we had you sisters that are part of this whole, well, I named it Mothers and Fatherless Sunday, March 17th. Foster care moms, this is going to be a great thing for you guys, because you can invite all the foster care mothers that y'all know in your big association and group that you're involved in for that Sunday. Get all them that you know at DCF to come, and let's design that March 17th Sunday around mothers and fatherless. Okay? That'll be that Sunday, March 17th. That'll be the event for March. All right? So that's the work that we all going to do as a congregation, getting that Sunday designed for foster care or any mother that you know that have children that don't have a father. It don't necessarily have to be with that agency. It could be friends that we know. I'll invite friends that we know where the dad is either deceased or the dad is not in the picture. Okay, March 17th. Psalm 68:5 and Esther 2:7. Don't you know Esther didn't have a mom or a dad? How many people knew that? She had mom or dad. Okay, so those will be the scriptures that will surround that day. Okay, Psalm 68:5 and Esther 2:7. April 20th, adopt a social worker. We had one. Donna, do we still have her, or we got to pick up a social worker?
I have to pick it up with the covenant to care, because the one
With the covenant to care? Okay,
the
all
one
right.
we had, we no longer utilize.
Okay,
You
good.
said April 20th? That's a
April
Saturday.
20th.
That's a Saturday.
That's a Sunday.
April 20th is a Saturday. It's 21st.
Say that again? What's it?
It's the 21st of April.
Is that Easter?
Let me get my calendar
Right, that's
out.
Easter, right?
Yeah, that's Easter.
You have any, what's the 14th?
That's a Sunday.
Is there anything on that day? Is that a holiday or anything?
No.
Because my calendar doesn't show that.
No.
All right, the 14th.
adopt a social worker?
Hmm?
Don't.
You said adopt a social worker? Yeah, okay. Adopt a social worker for that.
The doctor social worker is on April 14th.
So I have to reach out to Covenant to Care for that. So what are you envisioning on that Sunday?
I need a list of people from her, like families that we can invite to our congregation and recognize. Families that are in need or some sort of families that, whatever work she's doing with these families, we would like to say hello.
So I'll get back to you.
You'll get back to me
on
on
that.
that now, okay? All right, if that date doesn't work, you'll get back to me and let me know. The next two things I really need some involvement, maybe Kirk, you can help me with. I want to go to the city of Bridgeport, and I got this idea from Gladwin, who prays for the lawmakers in Jamaica when they have their sessions. And I would like to know if the city of Bridgeport will let us either email a prayer, come and do a prayer, or something similar to that. I don't know if that will ruffle feathers. I don't know if the mayor will allow us to do something like that in a chamber or a room.
Yeah, you need prayer.
The city needs prayer. And can you find out if we can have that as a May event?
Yeah, so you want to pray for the mayor and the city council?
Mayor and the city council.
Okay, good.
And the people of this city.
Okay.
I think they open up every meeting with a prayer and they offer that to local ministers to do that.
Okay, fine. I want to get in on that. Find out if the Church of Christ Bridgeport can be a part of that.
Okay.
Okay? Because I want us in there.
Okay.
All right? Adopt a cop. We had Lieutenant, I forgot his name, up on the north end of Bridgeport, up there on Sylvan Avenue, Old Town Road, that turn right there. We had him, he had agreed to partner up with us and do some things with us, but it was a meeting he met, then he got tied up with some police work and we could never get up there. But I'll give him a call this week and see if we can rekindle that.
Who's that?
I forgot the guy's name. He's the lieutenant. He's one that replaced Lieutenant Daniels.
Porter.
Is it Porter?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I need to talk with him and see if we can become a partner with them. Because he was the one that told me that don't go down and apply for any permits. Whatever we're going to do in this city, just call him up, and he said he'd take care of that. For any other relationship he thought maybe we can get together with. Okay. That'll be our June event. I don't necessarily need a date for that, but I need a month for that. I'll put down the 12th just because. Okay.
Now, one question, when you say these the social worker adopted officer and that's our event, what is surrounding that adoption?
For our social worker, we used to do turkeys. We used to do, when they had emergency fires, we used to collect clothes for.
Yes, so I understand what we would give to them, but you want it to be an event, so what do you want it to
I want to meet people in these events. I want a social worker to get us involved in the lives of people. And I want that to turn into an event. I want the church of Christ. I am done with all this other stuff that we do to help everybody else out. I want us to get into the city through the agencies that are part of the city and on the ground. And then once we meet people, I want to create an environment on a Sunday for people to come to. I just need their numbers. I need them to show up and show them how friendly we are and that we care.
You want the social workers to come?
And the social workers, I know social workers, they go to other churches. I realize that. I've talked to them, but they're not opposed to bringing people who don't go to church to meet us, those of us that are involved in their lives. So if we can establish that can be an event that we can have that month. And she will get us the list that we need. So talking with the social worker and coordinating these things with her and then being a part of that, we want to create an event on Sunday where they can come. And we just got to figure out what we're going to do for them that day. After our worship service, an hour generated to them. Okay? Everything that where I'm talking about, I want it to be hands-on with people. People. I don't care if these people worship somewhere else. Most of the poor people that I run into and people that are in agencies in this city, they all go to some church here. Bridgeport has probably the largest population of active churches than I ever seen. There is a minister or a priest or something over everything in this city. Everything. You call up a certain, and that's just the way the councils of churches function. But Bridgeport is not there. And I want us to get involved in that. I want us as people, as a congregation, to get involved in people's lives and create events for them. They want to make them a part of what we're doing. Make them a part of what we're doing.
So there's a lot of different, I think our imagination can really just lead us in terms of what the events are. Like I know in Norwalk, when I direct the summer camp, they have a fire truck that comes and donates ice cream to all 250 kids. So let's say we wanted to do like on an Adopt a Cop day, like us plus the cop could give out, one of mom's ideas was like sandwiches. We can give out water. We can do that on a Sunday within the 4 or 5 block radius of the Holiday Inn, right?
So June, so we can do something at Seaside Park.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be honest, in that ice cream thing, when I tell you, like, the kids from the community, because it's free ice cream, and so those are the things I think that would help you access people, but then at the same time, that's our community outreach because we serve the community. So it's doing 2 things at the same time. And
a lot of these police officers are part of programs that are attached to things like abuse, emergency care and aid, families that are high-risk families that are in need for certain things. Something has devastated a child's life. A lot of these guys are attached to agencies like that. I want us to be a part of that, be a part of those men and women in this city that are serving the community in that capacity. And we can be part of the events. Some of this stuff is already on the City of Bridgeport website. I'll look at that. But I just want the Church of Christ in Bridgeport to be attached to it. I want everything that we need to do to be done with the people of this city that are not saved. Well, doesn't have the truth that we have. Okay? All right. Moving on. We're already going to have our June anniversary. July, this may be a push, but start next week. Erica, Kirk, 1 or 2 week camp. A 2 week camp starting next year.
Oh, next year, not 2019.
Next year. Next year.
I was about
We gotta have a 2 week camp for these kids. We gotta get involved in that. We had 33 kids come down from Marina on our very first VBS year when we was here. Very first one. We walked them kids down, the parents walked, those mothers walked those kids down into that VBS every single day.
So 2019, 2020.
2020. Let's give them something.
Okay.
Let's give them something. Let's start that this year and pick that month. Pick that July month for these kids.
Is
and
that like VBS? Is that a VBS?
No, I don't want it a VBS. I want a camp. I do not want a VBS. I want a camp. I want a camp for kids.
Okay.
Okay?
We can do it.
Karen?
And Crystal and Ricardo, they have been talking about doing stuff like that for.
You mean creating a camp, but you already have one?
No, we're gonna make the
Wait,
first
oh,
Church of
exactly.
Christ.
Sorry, I kind of understand the language that.
Create
I was
one.
like an insider.
Create.
Okay, yeah.
Church of Christ Bridgeport is going to create a 2 week camp starting next year.
Yeah, you wanted to do soccer, you wanted to do all this stuff on here, so there's a way to get involved.
You already do that in Norwalk. So this shouldn't be hard. It should need participation and set it up.
And she already does that too, so.
Set it up.
So he thinks it's that easy.
No, he knows. Listen.
No, wait, let me tell you something right now, bro. I talked to you, I called Bud, and I asked Bud if I can bring children from the city of Bridgeport to the camp that all of us in the Church of Christ pay money for. He said, Ellis is a good idea, but I don't think the board would. I'm not talking about stressed kids. I'm not talking about kids of violence. I'm just trying to get kids off the street to put them in an environment that my children enjoy. You told me about a camp upstate New York. He told me about another place to send kids. And I thought about that. I said, well, wait a minute. Why can't we do that? They're right. I mean, if there's other places to send kids, why can't Bridgeport create that in the city of Bridgeport? Oh, I know it's not easy, but I tell you what, I know that there are resources in this city that care about kids and will give those resources for 10 days for children. Now, I know some of the stuff y'all run into every year, we're gonna run into too, but you know what? We will be working in lives and changing the lives of 10 kids who otherwise would never go to Tidal River, who would never go to the upstate Mariah Carey camp like that, because they just won't go. You know what I'm saying? So we can do that here. Why can't Bridgeport? No, it's not why. Bridgeport is going to do that.
Yeah. This is another reason why, like, we truly praying and fasting for a building, because we can do it in like a school. Like the camp that I direct is in a local magnet school in Norwalk. But if we had our own building, it would just make it a little bit easier. And again, that's the 501c side where we can get funding and we can do like we can do STEM and have like an opening prayer every morning, have like a 3 p.m. devotional and things like that. But if we had a building, that would be ideal because it's our own space and then we're responsible for it.
I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be obstacles. I know there's strict restrictions that, even come down from the city itself. But I know one thing, there are resources for this. People will help. Karen?
And the kids are here. I think the challenge you're gonna have is how to dwindle it down to only 10 kids.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are tons of kids.
Yeah, every time you get ready to do something with kids, the numbers just get outrageous.
Yeah,
But
it's
we'll cross over those.
Especially if it's really exactly.
We'll cross those trains. That'd be a nice hurdle to cross. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because we have other professional people involved in that, which will be great. You know what I'm saying? Bill, you had your hand up?
I want to find out about the building property that was looking at in Fairfield.
I think Clinton Avenue.
Fred called me up yesterday. We're going to talk on Monday about that. Yeah. Because I told him, I said, we got paperwork we have to do, and we're trying to get money. So we'll see. The guy, the brain surgeon, or is it a heart surgeon? The guy, he's back from New Zealand. He wanted to give that to us for $3,000 a month, just to rent, to lease, to buy. Okay, so I'll know this week. All right. Okay. We had a doctor school. Tiana's still on that? Because I just want to do the book bag drive.
So a couple things. So we do have a doctor's school with Tiana, but her principal, she and I have been going back and forth, and so she doesn't have a lot of steam under her, right, in order to make things happen for the school. So it's kind of it's soft right now. So we'll see what happens with that. And just in terms of book bags, because I know there's a huge city of Bridgeport event where they have, it's for the entire city. They give free book bags. I want to say it's August, early August, I think.
Yeah. It's usually the third week.
Somewhere in there.
Third Friday or
so I'm just saying that they have that. So with the adopted school, we were thinking more along the lines of, Tiana says they don't have copy paper, or the kids, their pencils break.
Items that go in a book bag.
Yeah, so during the year, they run out of pencils. And so now none of the kids have pencils.
Okay.
Or none of the kids have crayons. So really trying to work with the adopted school to make sure that we can get those supplies that are needed so that the kids aren't lacking. And if the teachers don't have copy paper, you're not copying the lesson for the kids or their homework, that's concerning. And if the kid comes with a book bag and no pencils, and there are no pencils in the classroom, that's also concerning. So just trying to meet some of those needs.
Okay, no, Principal Plalines of Black Rock School would like us to mirror what we were doing over at Curiel, but I'm going to hold off on telling him yes until you guys let us know. But we got to finalize that to know if we can actually do this, because he wants something done over there. Okay.
And, Patrick's niece is a teacher, and yes, she's in Maryland, but some of the things that she always puts on Facebook is that not so much what the kids need, but the teachers need, because a lot of teachers, they're underpaid, but they're taking money out of their own pocket for supplies for their classroom. So even if we end up not going down in terms of the students directly with pencils and books back and so on, we can do what the teachers need in their classroom. And that way we can supply even more than one classroom,
Because I think that that's important. So this copier paper is huge for teachers. They need the paper.
Copier paper, tissue.
Tissues are big.
It's a big thing.
Hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer, a lot of those things that the teachers are end up buying
Out their own
instead of because the school doesn't provide.
Because that's
Well,
helpful.
certain distributors will give us that. They will, or give us that at a fraction of a cost. People savings, BP United said that they will get involved in fundraisers like this. So just
There is the People's Bank did tell me when I was working with one of the managers a couple months ago that they also have grants, like a $500 grant that they will periodically give. As a matter of fact, this young lady even said to me, if you have an event, I will come to the event to help sponsor, set up, or whatever it may be. So that's something we can keep in mind also, because I thought it was nice of her to want to be a part of, not only offer services, but show us how to get the money from the bank.
guys, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know if other people have money with funding, but the people I've talked to have said yes. That's all I know. I only can vouch for my relationship with certain people and certain people that I know who do this kind of thing. They said yes. Like, yeah, what do you need? It's just that I no longer want to do it with somebody. I want us to do it. We're done now. We're not going to stop helping other people, but we can do this ourselves now. That's all. Okay, the last two things is what we're already doing, except for the gospel meeting. Sunday through Wednesday is the typical time or the traditional time for gospel meetings. What is a gospel meeting for? How do you see a gospel meeting?
To bring people in.
Okay, that you say bring people in. Anybody else?
So a way to like evangelize, to just praise and worship, but invite the community outside people.
Okay. Anybody else?
To build up current members.
To build up current members. We used to have another meeting for that. What was it called?
Revival?
Revival.
Yeah.
But they all label it now under gospel.
Yeah, it was old school revivals. Remember that?
We combine.
Yeah, tent meetings and stuff like that. And Bridgeport did that 2 years, not in a row, but they did that twice, where they had a tent meeting right over here by the Main Street right there by the Sheen Center. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Think about the untraditional days on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, making that a community event. How can we make a gospel meet, not where it's designed for us to have some guy come in and energize us the way they do all the time for 4 days? How can we make that out of an event for the community?
Well,
on a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday.
Well, one thing I said to you before, we can do like a teach-in. So I think like there's the gospel piece, but then there's like the application. So one thing that I think outside people from other doctrines or whatever would be interested in is like something that's more teachable.
Like
so
what we did with Marvin.
Yeah, like if you had a topic about like mental illness, but it's faith-based, but then we have like sessions and you give Crystal a session, right? So it's not going to be like your traditional preacher coming in, but maybe we have like an overarching lesson, like a Bethea come in, but then we have like a classroom where Crystal does a teach-in about mental health and wellness among elementary and middle school students.
Right.
And then, you know what I'm saying? Like those things, I think people in the community
We'll
would
do
love
something on suicide.
yeah, you don't, where do you go to kind of have the both and? A lot of times you get the faith stuff where then like we go places and you get the community licensure school-based stuff, but really like it's the same thing. I think that's one way to
think
do it.
about it. Kevin came here and we were able to drum up thousands of people off a subject that he was part of and came from and did a great job. Imagine if we had a couple of subjects for the weekend, for that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, in a venue that supported that, where it was easy to get to, and it was group friendly. And it gave us two things. It gave us the spiritual peace that we need, because our date for the Unity Fellowship, for our gospel meeting is in November, the first weekend in November. And then we're done with the gospel meetings, but that's Bridgeport's time slot. So imagine if we can do something like that, that will give us our traditional needs, but meet the needs of the city. People in the city, people that have a need for a particular subject, something that's going on in their life, something that is probably prevalent to most people that are struggling on some sort of level, and put that into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, instead of Sunday through Wednesday. Because remember, on Monday and Tuesday, we die right off. We usually get the support of the other congregations just to get the numbers up. So imagine if we turn that, Curtis talking about targeting people and creating that from people. So we'll have the number base already there for those 3 days. And Sunday is just our cap off. Have people committed to come into worship on that Sunday. And that'll be our 3 day. What do you think? Karen?
I think we have to be careful about taking away from what our purpose is, because in the community, people already there are seminars all over that they can get educated on stuff like mental illness and all that. So be careful we don't take away from the core of what we're doing. And also, I think our approach to gospel meetings. Okay, so for instance, when I was growing up in Jamaica, a week or 2 weeks before the gospel meeting, every single day, we're on the road, going to people's houses, knocking on doors, giving them tracts, having conversations with them, and inviting them to the gospel meeting. So instead of just putting it out there and then expecting people to turn up, have the conversation with them before the gospel meeting. So like have a mini Bible class with them. It only lasts maybe 5-10 minutes, and we just want to knock on the door. We're in the community, we're invited to this gospel meeting, and probably give them an incentive. You know, people always love food, something. You know, people will always come up for food. But what I'm saying is that I think we have to do more of the prep work before the gospel meeting, instead of worrying about at the gospel meeting, because if people are coming, they're going to come. If they're not going to come, they're not going to come. Right? So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that make them aware of what we're doing before, like knock on doors, give them tracts, all of that kind of stuff, give them the invitation, all of that, to get them to come, to invite them to come, because a lot of people, they didn't know, or they forgot about it, or they just don't know what this is all about. So whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. How many of us brought people to our gospel meeting? Be honest. How many people went out and did the work that it takes for people to come to a gospel meeting? Like, how many people have done that? How many people have labored every single day before that gospel meeting to get people to come to the gospel meeting and hear that particular subject?
Not every day, but yeah. Yes.
In order to have an event that's successful, you just said not every day. Not every day. It takes every day that something is going on to help people. Okay, gospel meetings is not only for the saved, it is to do what Jesus did. Jesus reached it. That's why I read the article to see what we do, and we're great at. We're in the Church of Christ. We're great at tradition. We're good at that because we're so inclusive. We forget that there's a whole world out here outside of us needing the same Jesus that we need, but we don't want to put the work into it. That's all that is. And you know that to be true because you don't do it every day. Monday and Tuesday attendance is almost none in our gospel meetings around the country. Why? Because those brothers and sisters that go to work. Sunday night at a gospel meeting is not as strong as Sunday morning. Why? Because traditionally, people come on Sunday morning and that's it. That is the criticism that we have about things that we do on a regular basis. We can no longer function like that with the world being lost. We can't. It will take every single day for us to do what we need to do to reach people. If we're not trying to reach the lost, see, brothers and sisters, I'm not concerned about the 99. Most of us in this room and come on Sunday is so secure to a point with our Christianity that we can help somebody else even when we're struggling through bad times. That's the situation that we're in at Bridgeport. We have been able to manage the issues in our life, the sin in our life, that when we come together on Sundays or events, we always be there. It's usually the same people. But if we want to reach people who don't know that, don't have that knowledge, don't have that kind of strength, then we're going to have to do that and work hard in doing that. There are things that people are going on in their life. There are things that are going on in our lives right here that we're going to have to fast for on Monday and Tuesday to help us get to that point and to get people to that point. Help us get to that point and get people to that point. People are hurting. They just don't know where to go. They don't know if anybody cares. They don't know that on a daily basis. Okay, Kurt?
Yeah, to that point, I feel like, there might be tons of things like this going on, but I don't know where they are. There might be tons of events for mental health. Where? I don't know where they are. I live in Bridgeport. I've been in Bridgeport every day. I don't know where they are. So I think we keep waiting on other people to do things when, as the church, we should be doing it. So I think that, yeah, we can reach out and build a crowd and get people to come. But if they come and there's no content for what they're coming to, it's like, I know the content's Jesus Christ, but I mean, there has to be like something else, I believe, that can draw the folks in to help them to, on the human level, connect and relate. I know when someone comes to my door and just wants to talk to me about Jesus and give me a tract, I want to get them off my doorstep. But if we tell them, hey, we are going to do this seminar about, mental health and tie that with the gospel, I think that's a bit more relatable. And again, I don't know who or where are doing other things like that. If you know, point me in that direction, please.
Yeah.
And also, even with the whole Facebook thing, with this subject of mental health, like we can use our page to have articles about mental health. Like say because you could tag, I can easily tag Sister Donna in an article from the Church of Christ page, and then her friends will see that article also. So we could use that as a tool too to invite people to that's probably the easiest way to invite somebody. Because sometimes, especially in Bridgeport, you don't want to go knocking at certain times at certain people's doors because you don't know how they're gonna react. Or it might be a certain neighborhood that people are uncomfortable in walking. So I'm pretty sure half of us have friends in Bridgeport that we could just, you can invite them on Facebook, just invite them to this event and keep sending them articles about the event. Like say you're speaking, you could probably have a thing about who's speaking that day, some background thing and all that to be sent to them on Facebook.
Okay, Beulah?
I don't have a car, so I travel. I always have those things with me, right? So in the bus terminals, in the bus, wherever I be, I always try to speak to somebody. Okay, this is how I attack you. You're having a conversation with the person or whatever. Okay, I have an invitation for you. He said, true. I say yes. And I hand her a card. God, right? I invited you to my congregation. So it leaves to the person if they want to come or if they don't want to come. And I can't stop telling people about Christ because I know what he did for me and still doing for me. So this is no problem for me. Anywhere I go, in the grocery, in the bus, in the terminal, in the food place, wherever. Put it in my pocket. I'll tell you, okay, the conversation. I invited you, I have an invitation, I invited you to this. until one, yeah, invitation for me. I said, sure. You know, and I give them the thing. And it is very easy. You don't have to, if we have a gospel meeting, to me, you don't have to go out. If you could do it every day, you would go knocking, right? But if we have a day, like a Friday, or we all meet on a Saturday, and some go here, like how we did the last, months, years ago, whatever. We could do it like that and invite people in. We walk with the card on our walk, in the grocery, wherever we go, we could invite somebody. This is what I does. I don't know if anybody else,
Just think about it. Think about, and you need to go study the feeding of the 5,000 and the 4,000. Who already had food? Who already had food? Was the disciples hungry?
No.
Was Jesus hungry?
No.
See how slow y'all are with that? Jesus gave who the opportunity first to feed them?
The disciples.
The who?
Disciples.
Did they feed them?
No.
No. Who had compassion on the people?
Jesus.
Jesus did. So that means Jesus was concerned about their what? Well-being. Traditionally, gospel meetings do what? For only those that are interested in coming 4 days. Am I right or wrong?
Yep.
There are spiritual brothers and sisters in here and around the country that only come to gospel meetings at what time? You get 2 times to go to a gospel meeting, and you're not going to get them Wednesday people who don't come on Wednesday. But the numeric days that full gospel meetings are what 2 days? Sunday AM and Wednesday Bible study, correct? That's the gospel meeting for the saved. And the saved can't do it. You're gonna tell me that if I reach people who have a need to be reached are gonna turn me down? Let's prove me wrong then. On a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. That group that used to go around New England and knock on doors and bring groceries, 60, 70 doors they knocked on. Waterbury Church of Christ got 33 families to come and start worshiping with them. And they sustain about 13, 14, 15 families off of bringing people what they need before you gave them the spiritual things that will keep them in eternity. See, brothers and sisters, I'm not talking to be talking here. I'm talking about results that work with people who are looking for someone to hold their hand and take care of them. If it don't work, that's that 99 stuff. And see, I'm more than willing to leave them. I'm more than willing to leave y'all who got it all right. If you die today, you go into heaven. But what about those people out there who don't even have a glimpse of what I'm talking about in the world that I live in? And I'm going to do what? Traditionally what? Do things the same old way? Where even I can't even retain my own people? No, that doesn't work. Nadine?
So I think it's a great idea to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's something that I'm accustomed to in Jamaica during the weekend Bible study, but during the day, like Saturday during the day, I think we could have some sessions talking about what Kurt and Erica was talking about. And I think for Bridgeport, a great topic is addictions, right? Especially with our work with the Prospect House and all those people there, but not only in terms of addiction, in terms of drugs and so on, but in terms of pornography. I remember a few years ago, the men's retreat was talking about pornography and all of the comments that I heard, and I heard a part of the sermons, and they were great. So I think we have people in the church who can definitely speak to those topics of addiction, and I think that the people of Bridgeport are really in need of something like that. And then in the evening, or Bible study or church service could be about that same topic of addiction. But I think it's a great idea, and I think it's something that we can definitely do in Bridgeport.
It is a change. It's a change. And I don't know what timetable. We just have to figure out as church what timetable. I'm not saying come in at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. We can come in at 11 and we can do something like you said, with our classes from 11 to 3 or something like that, and then we break, and then we have something to eat it. But I think that if we gear ourselves, and you know how successful we are in doing things when we target the community. We do very well in things like that. We have in the past. Okay, other than, I'll get to you, Pat, I just want to let you know the 5th Sunday in December is ours on the 29th. That'll be for December. Okay, so that'll be our event for December. All right. That's 5th Sunday Fellowship. So that we're the 5th Sunday in December, Bridgeport. Okay.
Did you say when we're going to do the gospel meeting? Sorry, I ran out.
That's on the first weekend of November. That's the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd, if you look on the calendar.
Is there any fasting on the calendar?
Is there any fasting on the calendar?
For Monday and Tuesday?
This Monday and Tuesday.
This Monday and Tuesday, 7 to 3:30.
Okay.
That'll be in the bulletin. Patrick, did you have a hand up?
I was just thinking that when we're talking about the gospel meeting, and one way that we could do it is if we did a topic like we're talking about, addictions or whatever. I was just thinking like finances, family, and faith. Each day have a different topic. Actually have it tied into the biblical concept, whoever the presenter's going to be, and then open up like a workshop afterwards and have a couple of people that can run a workshop on how you can practically apply these things in your own life.
Right, right. More centered toward asking a question and getting answers. And the way you guys have just described it, that could be a Friday, that could be a Saturday morning, a Saturday evening, and then a sermon on Sunday morning that is geared toward all of what we learned those 2 days. Okay.
Why is faith important in your life?
Yep.
I mean, you can even be geared in an open way, but you present it through, coming to church that morning, but say, listen, being spiritual in your life is important. We believe that the best way of doing it is this way, by following God's word.
Right.
But there are practical things in spirituality that can really change your life if you apply them.
Excellent.
And that way you get people that probably would be more acceptable to come to the door, knowing you're not pushing your religion directly on them, but at least presenting it in a way that, hey, there's things that I'm taught by Dr. Phil, you say it all the time, that I know directly come out of the scriptures. So Dr. Phil didn't think about those things. He's just applying God's word in his own voice.
Okay, all right. We good?
I wrote it down.
Okay, all right. That's all I have. I covered everything that was on the agenda. And we're all set.
That's our ending ringtone.
Something's happening. It's doing its own thing. I'm not doing it.
Oh, okay. I thought you was that was like an applaud or something like that.
That was the grand finale.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, any more comments or anything you'd like to add? If not.
Just one thing, food service certificate.
Oh, yeah, food handlers like.
Oh. Did anybody go on the link?
No.
Y'all didn't go on the link?
What was the link?
Where was the link?
In the bulletin.
No, I didn't.
Okay, I got my certificate. And it's this way. You have to call. They have the classes. The next class is March 5th. You go online, everything is online, and you pay the $25. Okay? It is, you look at it. What's the name of the way it's set up? I mean, the bulletin, Patrick. Food handler, state food handler. You can go online with that right now.
Oh,
and
yeah,
see.
statefoodsafety.com.
Right.
/food-handler.
Yes. And then you can register and you can call in with your confirmation number and she'll give you a screen. There's 10 monitors. Now, we used to go in the room where we had the video, remember? And we all group did it. It's not like that anymore. You go on the monitor and it's they tell you it's going to be 75 minutes. So I had to run back out there and feed the meter. But the meter takes up to 6 hours, I think it is, and I didn't know that. Okay, now they go through a series of videos and questions that most of us already know. 165 degrees, temperature between 71, no lower than 41, no higher than 71, for 2 hours food being left out. All that is still standard, but they got some new stuff that they added in there because different diseases occur and, you know, they happen every year they find out some new kind of breakthrough. Okay, now after that information, I advise you to bring a notebook with you and write down everything that you see on the video, what it says, anything about numbers, temperatures, airborne diseases and germs, and the explanation for that. Because what they do in that course of the presentation, they actually ask you questions. Now, in your mind, you're thinking that's the test. It's not. The test is at the end. Okay, now they will help you. They will walk by and encourage you to write things down because they say to you, are you writing this information down? Now, don't be afraid. They're not there to fail you, but they're there to help you, but you're going to have to pay attention, okay? So don't think you're going to be able to go in here and just as a group setting, everybody say the same thing, and when you miss, everybody going to say, yeah, and then you can write down yes, and then they'll give you your certificate. It doesn't work that way, okay? So they have your language on the monitor, so that's another plus. So whatever language you speak, they have on the monitor. And they have 3 monitors that are there that walk around and help you, okay? So you bring your confirmation number, which you will get when you register. You get your date, you call her up, she'll give you your date, and you will have your row assignment. They give you rows. I happen to be, Donna and I happen to be in the second row, certain seat. But Donna has to go because she couldn't go with me that day. So she's all set. She just have to go and do her test. Okay? So that's the way it's set up now. It's not hard, but you do have to pay attention. All right, if I'm not mistaken, because it's been 2 years, memory is not what it used to be. Did the church pay for this last time?
It was $10.
It was $10, right? No?
I think some people did pick up.
I think you picked up for some people, but I think Patrick and I and a few others did ours before the rest of the church did theirs.
Okay, all right, well, it's $25 this time. All right,
What that-
and it's a third party, so don't, you
So
know,
wait a
don't.
minute, is the church picking up this
You
time?
say, I don't know, what do you think? I mean, I paid for mine, so if the church is gonna pick it up, y'all can give me some slip of my money back and give me my money. $25?
People can pay $25.
Those who don't handle food, don't go.
Yeah, but with most of us doing Prospect House now, I think.
Yeah.
If you're on the Prospect House list, you should go.
Prospect House,
You have to go.
You should go, you have no choice, because you gotta handle food. Now, your certificate number is on the database in the city of Bridgeport. So any agency in the city of Bridgeport that will have a question about whether you have had your food service training, can make a telephone call or go on the website, and there's your name and number.
So you'll get to a website that looks like this. When you click the link, it'll generate the City of Bridgeport site.
Yep,
It's just for our technologically unsavvy.
it's very easy.
And you just click on the link that says to register. It'll bring you to this page.
There
How
it
to
is.
get your Bridgeport food handlers.
1, 2, 3. All right, and what you can do for your own personal study, just find a link that has something to do with food service training and knowledge, and then that'll give you a heads up. Now, like I said, for those of us who have great retention skills, 70–80% of this test is from last year, 2 years ago.
And
So if you just remembered some of and you practice some of the temperatures, storage, and handling of food, you won't fail.
And just because, like, if we're doing a camp next year, since the certificate is valid for 2 years, when you get your certificate, bring it to church one Sunday so we can make a Xerox copy of it. Because I think we should just, for camp, you have to have state binders and things like that. So we probably should just start building on all of our certifications so that we don't have to backtrack and figure out who has what. So if
You can
have
ask her for 2.
Yeah,
You can ask her to copy
Okay.
2.
You get two, so we can just give you one.
Yeah, and then we just started.
Yeah, because there's no more cards. Remember the card we carry? Well, I carry mine in my wallet. There are no more cards. They give you a certificate, a framed certificate. Now, but your number goes into a database, so you all set. Okay? All right, we good?
Yep.
Our hearts and minds are clear?
Yep.
All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, dear God, we thank you so much for all that has been said and done.